Hey viewers, welcome to our next chapter to help you guys become better squashers. This is a very, very fundamental aspect of the game of squash due to the nature of its speed. The focus for this series is going to be about racket preparation. So what is racket preparation? How do you become more successful at it? What is the things you need to consider? Well, in general, racket preparation is to have your racket prepared in the best position possible before you're playing the shot, giving you plenty of time, plenty of options and possibilities. Without having a racket prepared, you're going to have difficulty responding in such a short period of time, keeping your accuracy on the ball. Everything's going to become very rushed. Okay, so we're looking to get the reaction from your racket, and I'll explain a little bit more about the specifics of how to do it in a second. So getting that racket ready so that you can then not feel in the rush and in that hectic sense that some of you might experience. It is a reactional thing, so just by repetition, your body and the nervous system will respond quicker, and then it will become more natural to get the speed from your preparation. Okay? It's important to understand it's not necessarily requiring maybe it's more mental effort. It's not requiring more strength or forcing anything. It's just making sure that you get the body coordinating itself and responding in the correct manner. Now, I'm looking at my grip here because that is the main area where it all begins from. As you will have seen or heard in one of our videos about the grip, where your grip is, so how it sits into your fingertips, particularly these top two fingers and the thumb sitting into this area, that is the main area of sensation to give the feedback to the body to be able to respond and prepare your racket correctly. Okay, so when you are basically starting with your racket on the tee, you don't want to be gripping really tightly because that also creates a resistance in movement. Okay, so do be aware that to get speed of reaction or response from the body, you have to have a calm enough relaxed state. Now, relaxed is not sleepy. It's just, for instance, you see here, my racket is floating up a bit, and I've just got that sensation going into this area I just explained. But it's not tight, you know. If I grip this harder, or obviously if I'm completely loose and floppy, I don't have a quick enough response because there's not enough feedback from my hand. So you start on the tee like so, and you're actually going to be lifting from that area of the hand that I discussed and sort of pulling the racket back into position to your backhand or your forehand. If you're left-handed, same thing. And it's from this area you want the first kind of feeling of pressure and movement to come from, okay? That brings the weight of the racket up and allows the rest of the body to then follow. Okay, now the footwork is also important, but we're going to discuss a little bit about how that connects together in one of the other videos in this series. But my main purpose and goal here today is to give you some different exercises to help practice your racket preparation. And hopefully now you're starting to understand the concept of how to prepare your racket quicker. If you're like hinging from your shoulder to bring your racket back, if you're using other parts of your body, you're not being effective and you're not developing the movement from the right area of the body, just like I said. Okay, so I'm going to come across to the short line on both sides, and I'm going to work with my volley. Okay, and what I'm looking to do is repeatedly hit the ball back to myself. Many of you might have seen these kind of solo exercises. The concept's simple, but think about how you're doing it and what your process is so that you can develop more speed from your racket head, okay? When I come across to the short line now, what I'm completely going to be thinking about is that, yes, I have a good balance position, yes, I'm moving my feet to adjust, but I'm going to see if I can sort of have this slight moment with my racket where there's a stillness, a stability, where my racket is completely stable and ready before I hit the shot, okay? Have a little look at me doing the volleys now on the forehand side. It's good to start from the short line. You can also stand closer. Obviously, just remember, the less time you're giving yourself makes it more difficult, but in a way more beneficial because then you have to prepare your racket quicker. So always use different depths in the court, Okay, so the volley is also another great way to practice your preparation, because you also have less time than if the ball is bouncing on the floor. Okay, so I'm starting from this from the short line position in the mid-court. My racket is back, and I'm going to repeat the volley and try and get that movement, pulling the racket back with my hand and my fingertips, sort of in that sharp, snappy motion. Here we go. Okay, so you see there, if I'm nicer to myself, I don't go to the sidewall, how there's this kind of photo moment where I'm in this sort of freeze frame, yeah? That's only coming because my hand is nice and light, but there's that quick snap back and pull from my fingertips. I like to say pull because that's effectively what you're doing. You're pulling your racket back into position, okay? Now you can also do this off the bounce. So from the mid-court line, which I'll demonstrate now. Same principles, but if you want to be a bit more successful with the exercise, I would suggest you're going to have to bend a lot more in the legs and stay lower, because the racket's still going to be up, but obviously now I'm not volleying at this height. I'm letting the ball bounce. It's going to have to come a lot lower. So let's try it now off the bounce. Okay, now you see my feet are always constantly active as well, so that's really, really important. Okay, it's because you need to be able to adjust and adapt, and you also want to be a little bit aware of the size of your swing. So I don't have a huge swing here, based on the fact that the distance I'm trying to get the ball to travel to is only to the mid-court. I also want you viewers to understand a little bit as well. I see a lot of people taking the racket down low. So first of all, not lifting, taking the racket down low, having this big, loopy, nice, loose, free swing. But that loose, free aspect is not where your racket is stable and prepared and ready. So if you have more pressure, it's more likely to break down. And also in this shorter time frame that I have between the ball coming off the front wall to here, such a big, long swing and take back is not possible, okay? So let's have a little look at the backhand demonstration. But the good thing is the same principles apply. Thinking about my fingertips, thinking about the grip, keeping my feet active. And again, I'm going to be pulling from the fingers, getting the top of that racket head to come back, which naturally brings the rest of my body into shape. So here's the volley. And now also off the bounce. Oh, tight. Not being nice to myself. Okay. So you will find, or I particularly find, the backhand can be a little bit slower. It's just a bit more of a fact that it can be a lot harder to get your racket back quicker on the backhand side for some people. But even in that exercise myself just then, as I've gone straight into this, you know, I can feel like when I'm working a lot harder in my shoulder or my elbow to help stabilize my racket, but that's limiting my speed and my feeling from here. So even in doing this exercise myself, then I'm getting that kind of feedback and understanding. And then towards the end, I was a lot more conscious on that lightness in the hand and that speed of preparation and finding that still moment before I hit, which you will all see in the video. So good luck with that one. We've got 3 or 4 more exercises in this series to help you with getting better racket preparation. Thanks and enjoy.